Let's all sit back, relax, and get ready for Born of Science, Jane the Killer. Alright. Oh, okay. 2002 was never a good year for Jane Richardson. Losing both of her parents to Jeff the Killer. Oh, we're starting off strong. Tackling a job at IHOP as a waitress with barely enough money to get by on. And being both mother and father to her little sister Jessie, who was 13 years old at the time. 13 years old, sorry. Jane's aunt, Samantha Engel, graciously helped out her nieces as far as money was concerned, so it wasn't a total loss for Jane. After all, Samantha was Paula's sister, and after her death, Samantha felt like it was right to take care of her sister's daughter. One day, while Jane was working her usual shift at IHOP, why are they really hammering in that she works at IHOP? And on her break, she came across an ad in the newspaper sponsored by her local blood bank. In the ad, it was said that the person would be paid $150 for their distribution, but they had to be really healthy blood type in order to qualify. Yeah, that's not suspicious at all. Well, I mean, I guess that's fair, right? You don't want to go donating crap blood. $150 just for giving blood? Was this too good to be true? Jane thought it would be good to take that money and pay off her mother's rent, so why not? After all, she did have clean blood. That's such an odd Without hesitation, Jane wrote the address of the local blood bank down, plus the phone number, finished off her orange juice, and went back to work. Another waitress, Alexis, who was covering for Jane, noticed her mood was more optimistic and appeared more pleasant than usual, refilling other customers' drinks. Well, someone's really happy today, Alexis said. Why wouldn't I be? I found an easy way to pay off my month's rent, Jane replied, pouring a fresh cup of coffee for a random man. Thanks, the man said. Oh yeah? What? Alexis asked. Blood Bank is offering $150 for anyone giving blood. You had to have healthy blood, it said, Jane said. Whoa, I never heard of that, Jane. Usually they pay you $25, Alexis replied, refilling a customer's soda. Somehow they must have made a few changes. Okay, immediately a red flag. You should be like, wait, excuse me? It's only $25? And then, like, look into it some more. Jane said, chuckling. Are you gonna swing by? Alexis asked. After I leave here tonight, Jane replied. I just mixed their voices. I just realized. I just swapped, whatever. Jane and her friend worked on through the night until the atmosphere of this IHOP was calm. Is this secretly sponsored by IHOP? Laid back and less rushed. The lights of the shopping center were where the restaurant was shined through the window. Whoa. Hold on, let me try that again. The lights of the shopping center where the restaurant was shined through the windows. Random cars on the highway passed by in the distance. Motorists who were looking for a bite to eat, getting off work, or going home sat the mood for this particularly lazy California night. KTLA News 5 was giving a report of the LAPD still pursuing Jeffrey Woods, aka Jeff the Killer, the one responsible for the murder of Jane's parents. The police commissioner said that they were having a hard time catching the suspect and had to enlist the aid of the FBI, CIA, and Departments of Justice in their manhunt. Oh, they ain't gonna help. Jeff the Killer is like a ninja. He can throw knives with perfect accuracy across the room. It would make Jane feel better to not only have Jeff captured, but wiped off the face of the earth entirely. One of the customers in IHOP that Jane noticed was a man in his late 40s with short brown hair, a goatee, sunglasses, and wearing a black three-piece suit and tie, crisply pressed. He looked like Walter White with hair! Oh, Jesus. Another distinguishing feature about this man was the Bluetoothed earpiece hanging on his left earlobe. He browsed through the menu and surveyed the employees. He paid close attention to Jane, almost as if she was a famous person. Hello, sir, what can I get you tonight? Jane asked, smiling. T-bone, steak and eggs. How do you want your steak? Well done. Eggs over easy. Well done, over easy. Oh, I just wanted to let you know that we have a new pomegranate pancake syrup. Something I happen to make in my free time, Jane replied. Do we need to know this for the story? Is this important to the story? Jane replied, taking the man's order. Wow, that sounds like a winner. You made the syrup? The man asked. Well, yes, Jane said cheerfully. You got a lot of talent, the man replied. Jane went back to the kitchen to get the man's food prepared. While he was waiting, he fumbled with a button on his earpiece. We found the perfect woman, sir, said the man, speaking in a low voice. What do you mean? Wait, whoa. Okay, so this is some secret man in black, like, secret agent. This man was actually an FBI agent. Okay, so he's an FBI agent. We found the perfect woman, sir, because she can make syrup? They found the perfect woman because she can make a pomegranate syrup at an IHOP. Oh my god. Agent Marcus East was still hunting down Jeff the Killer. Despite the LAPD's futile efforts and Agent East's determination, he was going to stop at nothing until Jeff was captured. Oh my god, this is so dumb. Excellent. Gather the other agents for next week. We know of a way of going after Jeff Lee Woods. How are you gonna catch a serial killer with a woman who can make pancake syrup? Oh my god. Understood. Jane brought out East's meal and a fresh cup of coffee. Thank you very much, ma'am, Agent East said pleasantly. You're certainly welcome, sir, Jane replied. An hour later, Jane clocked out and left for the night. I'm like about to burst out laughing, and just at the prospect of whatever the heck is going to happen next. I'm already losing my mind. I'll see you tomorrow, Alexis, Jane said. See you, Janie, Alexis replied. After 30 minutes of being on the road, Jane came across the blood bank. She expected the building to be closed for the night, but oddly, it was open. This must have been a 24-hour deal. The outside of the building looked like total shit, but the interior was very pristine and sterile, similar to a doctor's office. Jane approached the receptionist at the desk and announced she was there to give blood. Good evening, ma'am. How can I help you? The receptionist asked in a warm, friendly tone. I did not clock that at all in the voice I gave her, but who cares? I came across your ad saying that you would pay anyone $150 for simply giving blood. Wonderful. What's your name, dear? The receptionist asked. Jane Richardson. Okay, Miss Richardson, you go down the hall, second door to your right, the receptionist said. Squidward the receptionist! Oh, jeez. Do I have to sign any papers or anything? No. Oh, thank God, Jane replied, laughing heartily. The receptionist laughed along with Jane. I'll have your cash ready when you get done, honey. I'll have your... Oh, right, because she's getting paid for doing this, not paid. Right, got it. That was a brain fart on my end. The receptionist said, smiling. Jane indeed have a healthy, clean blood. O negative was her blood type. After what seemed like hours, but only a few minutes, they're really hammering in on how clean and healthy her blood is. Maybe that's why the FBI wants her. They just like, oh shit, she can make pomegranate syrup. She has O-type blood. Everyone knows that if you can make a pomegranate syrup, you have O-type blood. Ugh. After what seemed like hours, but only a few minutes, the doctor who extracted Jane's blood put a bandage over her spot and wished her a good night. Out front, the receptionist was going through files on her computer when she saw Jane. Man, that needle hurt like hell, Jane said, chuckling. Your arm's gonna feel sore for a day or two, the receptionist said. Tell me about it. Okay, here's your cash, Miss Richardson. $150. This will take care of my month's rent, Jane replied. Behind on your rent, huh? The receptionist asked. Lots of stuff have been going on. Me losing both my parents and all, Jane said. Just trauma dumping at the receptionist at the blood bank. Oh, I'm so sorry. It's just me and my little sister. I have to be both mom and dad to her. Why are you telling the receptionist this? Why are you just immediately oversharing your life with the receptionist? Well, my condolences go out to you and your sister, Jane, the receptionist said sympathetically. Thanks, that means a lot. You have a wonderful night, sweetie. Stay safe. You too. The following morning, Jane was able to pay her month's rent and wouldn't have to worry about it until next month. While working the day shift at IHOP, Jane got a call from the blood bank she visited just the other night. What could it be? Thank you for calling IHOP, now serving pomegranate pancake syrup in our new stuffed French toast. This is Jane Richardson. How can I help you? Miss Richardson, this is she. My name is Beth Williams, one of the doctors at Biomedics Blood Bank. Biomedics? What in the umbrella corporation shit is this? We were wondering if you could come by next week to give another sample of your blood. Okay. We'll pay you $10,000. Jane went silent for a few seconds. 10 grand for another sample of her blood? Was this for real? Miss Richardson, are you there? Oh, yeah, I'm here. You said 10,000, right? Yes, ma'am. Okay, I'll see you next week. Thank you so much, Miss Richardson. We'll see you soon. Bye. Bye-bye. Hangs up phone. It's like it turned into a roleplay, into a Twitter roleplay. It literally doesn't say, and then she hung up the phone. It just says in bracket, hangs up phone. 1 week later, it was the start of a beautiful day in the city of Angels. Jane returned to the Biomedics blood bank to distribute her blood and score an easy 10 grand. She wouldn't have to worry about money troubles ever again. But why was Biomedics going to pay Jane $10,000? She couldn't figure it out herself. But if it meant to put that money into an account and making sure her and her sister are finally secure, then why not? Jane saw the same receptionist from last time and still remembered her. And the doctor who drew her blood was there as well. When it was all over, Jane claimed her cash, stuffed it into her wallet, and was on her way. Just as she was about to get into her car, a couple of well-dressed women approached her. One of them flashed her CIA badge and announced, Jane Richardson? Yeah? Agent Tanya Magarlo, CIA. We're watching an episode of CBS Miami. What's going on? Jane asked, very puzzled. You didn't do anything wrong, Miss Richardson. Don't worry. But I was wondering if you would come with us. Where at, exactly? You'll see. Come with us, the second agent said. Without hesitation, Jane got into a limo with the other agents. Where were they taking her? Why did they choose Jane? Was there any significance? The two women were taking Jane to the CIA headquarters in Los Angeles, and they were going to explain everything to her as soon as they arrived. 90 minutes later, the limo arrived outside of the headquarters. Jane noticed there was also a U.S. Marshals and FBI van parked out front. What was this about? Don't go, Jane. See, Auntie's picking up on it. She knows what's about to happen. What was this all about? Jane couldn't figure out what the hell was going on. No matter how many times she asked the agents, it was always the same. That information is classified. Jane wanted answers. She wanted to know what was going on. Once inside, Jane was greeted by a refreshing cold breeze that seemed to be coming from central air units. It was the hottest day ever. Jane was led to a room that looked like a police interrogation area. There inside was another male agent. Jane sat. Welcome, Jane. We've been expecting you, the agent said. You mind telling me what the hell is going on? Oh, we're getting TV levels of dialogue, I see. We're getting, like, bad drama show, like, okay. Not all. First off, I just want to say I'm sorry for the loss of your parents. I know how much you love them. I take it you heard the LAPD has been having a difficult time producing your parents' assailant, Jeffrey Woods. Jeff the killer? Exactly. We also got in touch with the FBI, U.S. Department of Justice, and the U.S. Marshals. And they're gonna see to it that Jeff is stopped once and for all. You're sending, like, every agency after him, and you still can't catch it. He is a 14-year-old. He is a 14-year-old with third-degree burns and a knife. How is it this hard to catch him? But what does that have to do with me? After receiving word from your blood transferal at Biomedics, it's apparent that you are the perfect blood time and maybe the key to stopping Jeffrey Wood. Blood time? That's what's written there. I'm not mispronouncing type. Blood time. Okay. So, let me get this straight, Jane said, trying to piece together what the agent said. After I gave my blood, You and these other agency guys want to use me to stop that son of a bitch, Jeff? Yes, ma'am. All you have to do is meet with our doctors. Just meet up with the doctors? Jane asked. Yes, ma'am, the agent replies. And then I'm free to go? In due time, I promise you. Well, okay, Jane said hesitantly. Hold on a second, I'm gonna, Alright, I'm good. After she was led into another room, one doctor did an eye scan of her icy blue eyes after giving her a vision test, reading an eye chart, etc. The scans of her pretty blue eyes was stored into the computer. Why did they have to... next doctor to examine her was the cardiologist. Following a few brief questions such as her date of birth, height, weight, and that sort of thing, Jane had her blood pressure checked, which was 120/80. The normal blood pressure for a healthy young lady. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know blood pressures. Very good, the cardiologist said. He checked her heartbeat and asked her to breathe when using his stethoscope. The cardiologist wrote down everything. Next, a general practitioner was to examine Jane, checking her eyes, ears, throat, testing her reflexes, you name it. Jane passed with flying colors. Jane thought that she was going to leave the building with no problem and be on her way, but when she was led down a hallway by 2 guards, she noticed in one of the rooms stretchers lined up with blankets covering the bodies. A total of 25 people, all young women. The FBI has been coercing women into fighting Jeff the Killer. Why? Why is this a thing they're doing? Dead. What was going on here? She started to get freaked out at the sight of the lifeless woman, yeah, no shit, who haven't been disposed of, and anxiously asked where the guards were taking her. They refused to answer, so out of instinct, she began to assault the guards, incapacitating one of them. How? Her fighting skills she learned from Mary's father, Chef Nick, really paid off. Sheriff Nick, not Chef Nick, sorry. In the very different jobs. Oh god, I gotta reel it in. Alright, I gotta reel it in. In the midst of the brutal melee, Jane was tackled and sedated by one of the doctors. Her world began to blur and fade black. Jane groaning, in parentheses. Where am I? Jane asked, coming to. She was strapped to a chair similar to what you'd see in a dentist's office. Around her, the room looked like an operating theater bathed in bright white light, which gave the room a clean appearance. Jane couldn't see anybody because all that was in the room with her, facing towards her, was a two-way mirror. She felt something on her forehead that was similar to a headband, but saw electrodes and wires running away from her. Oh my god. Her hands and feet were secured in place. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't break free. A few seconds later, she heard an unknown female voice on the intercom. It must have been that of an agent, researcher, or scientist. You're bullshitting me. You are not about to tell me that they're performing experiments on young women to turn them into super soldiers to fight Jeff the Killer, a 14-year-old with a knife. Miss Richardson, can you hear me? The voice asked almost sympathetically. Who's there? It's me, Dr. Beth Williams from Biomedics. I don't want to have you find out the hard way, but some of these agents and government officials tell me you have a very healthy blood type, and from what I could gather, they were correct. If you are wondering, it was me who sedated you. I did not drag you into the room in which you are in, dear. I can assure you, I will be standing by to monitor your vitals through this process, Dr. Williams said. What are you talking about? Jane, Agent Margolis said, we've brought you here because you are the perfect blood type, and also the candidate for the following experiment that has been funded by the U.S. government, totaling at $6.9 million. This is a government-funded experiment to catch a teenager with a knife. I cannot believe this. Oh my god. We have received word from the LAPD that they've had trouble in capturing the suspect responsible for the death of your parents. Bruce and Paula and we, along with the FBI, Department of Justice, and U.S. Marshals, agreed to help in the capture of Jeffrey Woods. Oh my god, if you haven't noticed, there's an intravenous needle in your arm. One of the scientists will be bringing in the serum to replace with your blood. Wait, okay, wait, hold on. Hold the fucking phone. If they're sucking out the blood to replace it with serum, why does it matter what the blood type is? In general. If it's a replacement, why does it matter? Because it's not gonna mix. Oh my god. This is so stupid. This serum is classified, but it will ultimately help you in getting revenge on the one who took your parents' lives. Oh my god. Just then, a scientist and doctor came into the room, prepping Jane. The scientist came in with the liquid hate? Oh no, oh my god, no. You have to be shitting me. Liquid hate. Liquid hate. Okay, if you don't know what liquid hate is, it's from the Backrooms. It's a Backrooms thing. I thought Jane the Killer was like a really old creepypasta. Why is there a Backrooms thing here? Am I reading like a New Age origin story or something? Why? What in the fuck? This is... The container was 1.25 gallons with a biohazard symbol on it. The light from overhead casted the liquid, giving off a pretty glowing purple. Oh, pleasant. No, so it's not liquid hate from Backrooms, because liquid hate in the Backrooms is red. So this guy was ahead of the curve. He predicted liquid hate like 20 years ago. Liquid hate. What in the... The doctor who came in was there to make sure everything was ready to monitor Jane safely. He assured her that she had nothing to be afraid of and she was going to be okay afterwards. No. Literally putting pure hate in her body. What do you mean she'll be fine? This made Jane feel somewhat better. Oh, yes, of course. As part of her was scared to death, but the other half of her showed no fear, and she was ready. The doctor put the intravenous tube into Jane's arm. The one tube ran into a container that would collect Jane's blood and shipped it to the American Red Cross for patients who had the same blood type as Jane. Okay, at least they're donating the blood. And to receive a healthy blood transfusion. The other tube was attached to the container holding the liquid hate. So in this way, it was just like an embalming fluid prep setup, but with the experimental liquid. Despite being reassured by the medical personnel that she had nothing to be scared of, a single tear ran down her face. The process began. The voices that Jane heard, the scientists, the government officials, FBI, CIA agents, US Marshals, researchers, began to sound distant. Okay, I thought she was just, like, immediately hearing voices. Like, as soon as they put the liquid hate in her veins, she, like, instantly went insane, like Jeff. Oh, my God. If something were to happen to her, she would see her deceased parents. On the other side of the two-way mirror, doctors were monitoring Jane's vitals, her heart and brain waves, etc. Her heart was beating at a steady pace, showing the EKG beeping, the readings of the EEG showing normal brain activity. Jane saw her blood being drained slowly. This didn't bother her at first, but as it began to increase, she felt very weak and drowsy, almost like she was being smothered by an unknown person with an ether-soaking rag. And in the next few minutes, that was so specific. Jane's surroundings began to disappear. First, into a state of unconsciousness and weakened from loss of blood in her body, then dead. The heart monitor in the other room flatlined. The EEG went flat. For that moment, Jane was clinically dead. Jane felt a gentle, familiar hand on her face, caressing her. It was her mother, Paula. She opened her eyes, and despite being deceased for over a few minutes, she was still in the room. Her father, Bruce, was there as well. "Mom? Don't be afraid, Janie. Mommy's here," Paula cooed sweetly. She saw Jane's eyes welling up with tears and held her daughter in her arms, tightly, comforting her. "Dad?" Bruce gave Jane a kiss on her head as he joined to hold the child as well. Jane was weeping as she was glad to see her parents. "You're gonna be okay, kiddo. You're gonna be just fine," Bruce said softly, calming his daughter down. He was in a full military dress, his medals shining in the light of the room Jane was in. His uniform was crisply Her dad was a military man, and he couldn't stop a 14-year-old with a knife. His short hair... Well, okay, I guess Jeff could have, like, broke in while he was asleep and killed him in his sleep, but, like, still. His short hair shiny and brushed back, almost as if he was going to attend a military ball. What's going on? Jane asked. Well, since the doctors emptied your body, you went out like a light. But me and Daddy are gonna stay here until you come alive, honey. What? What? Huh? They know what's happening and they're like okay with this? Huh? And they know what's gonna happen to her? Huh? Paula said in her soft-spoken voice, her words soothing Jane's heart. One thing I could never stand about IV needles is when someone can't find the vein to put it in. That happened to me when I was a little kid and I suffered sepsis, and I felt like frickin' Swiss cheese. That old hag couldn't put a needle in right. You gotta know that having experiences as a doctor and a PhD doesn't come with vision. Okay, Dad. Thanks, I guess. Bruce said, smiling, laughing. This made Jane smile and giggle as she laughed with her daddy. She knew for the longest time that her daddy was a very silly and made her laugh without even trying, and was still a goofball in the afterlife. That is also what Paula loved about her husband. Jane's parents stayed with her until the liquid hate was administered. Your father couldn't stand needles being poked into him at all, honey. But getting like an allergy shot or vaccine, that didn't bother him. It was an intravenous needle that got on his nerves. Even when he was little, he fainted at the sight of a big needle, Paula said, chuckling. Hey, that thing was big, Bruce replied, comically. I know I'm gonna feel sore and stiff when I get up, Jane said. Considering the chair you're in, I wouldn't be surprised, honey, Paula replied. I think tonight you should take a nice hot bath with some Epsom salts, Bruce said, caressing Jane's hair. Good idea, Jane replied. You just remember I'm giving, like, Jane and her mother the same voice at this point. I fucking, like, I can't even be bothered. You just remember one thing, my little Jane baby. If you ever need me or Daddy, we'll be right here, Paula said, pointing to Jane's heart. And we'll come live in your dreams, sweetheart, Bruce added, smiling. We're so proud of you. Jessie's lucky to have such a sweet sister. We'll always be watching over you, love, Paula said sweetly. We love you, Jane, Bruce said. Oh, the purple stuff is about finished, Paula said, pointing to the liquid hate that was halfway empty. I love you, Mommy. I love you, Daddy, Jane said, giving her parents a hug before they returned to heaven. We love you too, Janie, Paula replied, giving her daughter one final kiss goodbye. Jane slowly regained consciousness and came to. The EKG and EEG roared back to life, showing heart and brain activity, her vitals appearing normal. As her vision adjusted, she saw she was still in the operating theater. When she looked down, she noticed her hands were now ivory white. She was pale like a corpse. She screamed over the loss of her natural skin pigmentation. They stole my melanin! And saw that her once bright platinum blonde hair was now coal black. Isn't blonde hair the absence of color? Why would her hair go... Alright. She tried to break free from the restraints, thinking that she would fail, but somehow, with now increased strength, ripped both of the restraints off and jerked the wires off her head. She tore the leg restraints away and got up out of the chair. She looked towards the two-way mirror, now in a violent, angry, homicidal rage, and hollered, What the hell did you do to me? Yeah, it probably wasn't the best idea to inject her with pure hate, now is it? She's going to experience violence episodes and homicidal tendencies for the first 90 seconds. Oh my god, and you didn't strap her down any more securely knowing this would happen? One of the scientists said to the group. You are now full of liquid hate, Miss Richardson, Agent Margolis said. I look like fucking powder! That's because your natural skin color went away, Jane. Oh my god, this is so stupid. Jane picked up a chair that was in the room and threw it against the two-way mirror, shattering the glass. She grabbed a hold of one of the doctors who were monitoring her vitals by the collar. Oh, here comes the murder. Slamming him against the wall with incredible strength, causing a huge dent. Oh my god, she's a superhuman. Now we have two superhumans, Clockwork and Jane. Although this one will fight on the side of justice and fight Jeff the Killer or some shit. One of the scientists sounded the alarm for armed guards and medical personnel to restrain Jane. One pulled out a syringe, trying to aim it for Jane's neck, but Jane took the needle and stabbed the doctor between the eyes and injected an air bubble into him. How? It's not an empty syringe. The two guards with automatic weapons tried to fire at Jane, but she grabbed both their arms, causing them to fire at each other. She's a superhero. She became like a superhero, or an anti-hero, or whatever. Fucking, I don't know. One agent fired at Jane, but the bullet didn't faze her a bit. The wound automatically and quickly healed. What is she, Deadpool? She approached the agent who was still firing multiple shots at Jane, and at least she doesn't dodge them, okay? At least she doesn't literally dodge bullets like Clockwork and Nina, alright? It's still stupid, but oh my god. She approached the agent who was still firing multiple shots at Jane and snapped his wrist into, I-N-T-O, showing fractured bones and blood spurting everywhere. An orderly standing at 6'5" and 300 pounds tackled Jane. Why do we need to know his metrics? Tackled Jane, attempting to subdue her, but Jane had the upper hand and flipped him over onto his side and snapped his neck into, also I-N-T-O. Just as carnage continued, Jane took the now empty liquid hate container, broke it against the ground, and took a sharp glass shard and stabbed to death one of the agents, her clothes now stained with blood. Amidst the dead, broken, mutilated, bullet-ridden bodies and those who were out cold, Jane looked at the group who was in the room that now had no mirror and said in an ominous tone, "Thank you for saving me. Thank you for making me what I am. I know now what I must do. I must kill Jeffrey Woods and end his reign of terror forever. If he is not killed, more lives will be lost, like the guys you just killed. I am much stronger now. I am unstoppable, unkillable. Weapons are useless against me. Anyone who dares crosses me, I will be the last thing they ever see. I will kill Jeff the Killer, and no one will stop me." After 90 seconds, Jane's homicidal tendencies ceased, and she was acting normal again. Okay, cool. The same doctors who were examining her wanted to do x-rays, MRI scans, and the final examination on her. Jane stood naked as the day she was born, as physicians didn't see any abnormal changes. No defects. She was even more beautiful despite the fact that she was pale white with black eyes. Alright. Okay, Miss Richardson, I want you to read what's on this chart right here, an eye doctor said. Oh my god, they actually wrote it out. EFPTOZLPEDPEDFCZPFELOPDZD1234567. Printed by Century City Optometry, 10250 Santa Monica Boulevard, Suite 107, Los Angeles, California, 90067. Bruh! The eye doctor was flabbergasted that Jane read everything down to the fine print. He took a magnifying glass and saw the address and company name at the bottom of the eye test chart. Wow, he said, dumbfounded. So, Doc, are there any other tests today, or can I walk out of here and be on my way? Well, are you going to give me another visual test, or just stand there and stare at me all day? I'm just gonna stand here and stare at you all day, the eye doctor said, seeing Jane fully naked. Alright, dude. Alright, buddy. Okay. Alright, dude. Yeah, you're talking to like a superhuman who will murder you. So I'll take that as a you're free to go? Yeah. Jane took her blood-stained clothes that were in a hospital bag and walked out fully nude, not caring that people were looking at. Put your fucking clothes on, lady. On her way home, she saw clothes that were hanging out to dry on a clothesline outside by a little suburban home. These clothes matched her frame. She's just gonna steal someone's laundry? There was a pair of black sweatpants and sleeveless black Under Armour shirt and a black hoodie. Oh my god. They all smelled sweet as she pulled them off the clothesline and got dressed in broad daylight. The only article of clothing that weren't bloodstained were her black Skechers sneakers. She slipped on her socks and shoes, called Jessie, and told her she was okay. Jessie waited back at home for her sister to return. Dude, she just stole... Why did she steal someone's laundry? Also, Mary was waiting. Jessie immediately ran into her big sister's arms, gasping emotionally, giving her a big hug. Mary hugged both Jessie and Jane. Who's Mary? Mary hugged both Jessie and Jane and gave her honey bun a kiss on the lips. Oh, is it her girlfriend? Baby, I'm so glad you're okay. I was so worried, Mary said, emotionally, glad that Jane was alright. I knew you'd come back, Jessie said through tears of joy. Of course I did, Jane replied, giving her little sister a hug, still emotional. Jeff has some competition, so as many other criminals out there. Don't go to sleep, you won't wake up. Jane the Killer is coming for you. And that, ladies and gentlemen, although you're all ladies, actually, I just realized that the entirety of my chat is ladies. Well, VOD might have some garbage, whatever. Fucking, oh my god, that was Jane the Killer. Oh my god. Why did they need to have a $6.9 million government-funded experiment to turn her into a superhero to fight a 14-year-old with a knife?